The message of the week, message of this month, probably the message for the next 3 to 4 months, rates higher or longer. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This week, I'm covering for Krystle. Wait, just covering for myself. So anyways, I'm doing the scoop and the brief with your one and only Kenny. Boy, we got a lot of stuff to get into, so enough about that, and let's get into it. But always, let's start off with our inventory, and we're gonna jump into a lot of things. So if you're watching this and you're gonna take some of this information and pass it on to your clients, get some notes out. If you're watching this and you wanna learn, you might wanna watch this twice, because this one is gonna be filled with nuggets, a lot of information. There's a lot of stuff going on that we need to talk about, we need to go through to understand what in the world's going on out there. And at the end of this, I'll kind of tell you where I think things are headed as far as, you know, we've got fall full effect right now. We're done with summer. We got winter coming. We got the buyer demand slowing. We got inventory that's really terrible. Rates are high. So there's a lot of stuff. The pressure's on. The chokehold for real estate is on right now. It's real. And if you're in it, you're working in it, you invest in it, make a living off of it, it's quite frustrating as well. So let's get into it. So again, nationally, we've got 527,938 active listings. That's 527,938. Guys, that's for 330 million people. It's not that much. New listings this week, 59,107. So not a big number. We're just not seeing the inventory tick up. Locally here in San Diego, we're 2,869 active, 433 new, 388 recent sales, 399 pending. So the numbers are same story, same conversation. We're not seeing any improvement there. So one of the big talks of towns that I wanted to talk about, how to get a low rate. Let's say you want to buy a property, you want a rate of a 2, a 3, or a 4%. You're Kenny, that's not available. Not with a 3-2-1 buy down, not with buying it down. It's assumable mortgages. Did you know that FHA, you can assume that mortgage? The only thing you got to do is if they owe $700 and the property is $900, you need to come in with that difference. But remember, FHA, easiest mortgage to assume. VA, not as easy, because that VA would have to give up that eligibility to you unless another veteran. So VA is tougher. Definitely FHA is the one to go. Fannie and Freddie, people are trying to do it. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but there's ways to do it. But remember, you got to qualify. You most likely have to pay a point to the lender or some third party that's helping you out. And also, these take a while to close. I know a client of mine just assumed one from somebody, and they had a house together. They assumed I think conventional FHA took them 9 months. The average assumption takes 90 to 120 days. So if you're going to try to buy a if you're going to try to buy a house or a property doing that, you got to make sure they give you a long runway on that contract. Look, rates are just stubbornly high. And when rates are high, it is not good for anything. It's especially not good for the housing market. Yep, if you got money in a CD, you got money in a money market account, you got money in short T-bills, you're winning, things are great. But rates are literally so high, people are starting to look at a first-time home buy, a first-time purchasing a condo, a house, an investment property, and you're hearing going, this is insane. Not even the rate, the payment is just, ugh. So it's very tough. But remember, when those rates come down, which they will, that buyer demand is going to be like jet fuel, just shoom. Are we going to get more inventory? Hopefully. Is it going to meet that buyer demand? Hopefully. If not, prices are going back up. This has not happened since 2007. Do you know what it is? The 10-year treasury is about 4.5 and change. That has not hit that level, even though the end of last year we came close. It has not hit that level since March of 2007. The crazier thing, from March of 2007 till December of 2007, the 10-year treasury went from 5 all the way down to almost 3.4 right in there within 9 months. That's how much the rates drop. We've seen these go up and down. So I don't know. We're in a crazy rate environment. So what does this mean for you? This obviously means a couple things. Number one, if you're buying a place, rates are high right now. So most likely you're going to be paying a point down, or you're going to go to that seller and ask him to help you with a 1-0 buy down, a 2-0 buy, or a 3-2-1 buy down. And that's why my theme this week is guess who's back? Back again. 3-2-1's back. Tell a friend, tell a seller, tell a friend. Guess who's back? That's pretty good. I just made that up. 3-2-1 buy down, 2-1 buy down, 1-0 buy down. I'm already hearing the chatter. I guarantee you, with rates this high, we're coming into wintertime, fall time, where typically people get the best deals in buying real estate between October and the beginning of the year. I think we're going to see more 2-1 buy downs, 3-2-1 buy downs, because look, there's no inventory, but things might sit longer because these rates are crazy. So look out for that. I think it's coming. So what else is going on out there? Is the market going to crash? Is the real estate market going to crash out there? That is becoming the talk of the town. Why? Because we got crazy high rates, prices are still high, stuff is unaffordable. And when stuff's unaffordable, you have to have a correction where it becomes affordable. So the only way to make it affordable is if rates come down, or the plan B would be the market crashes and prices come back down. So I don't know what camp you're in, if you think both are going to happen. But anyways, the market has not crashed. The prediction of all the economists, everybody I follow and watch that follow data, they're not seeing a market crash. Could there be some type of correction or pullback? Sure. We would just have to get a ton of supply. And so people are thinking that's going to happen when obviously rates come down, we're going to get more supply. They're thinking there might be a correction. But if rates come down, there's also a ton of buyers on the sideline. There's a ton of people ready. There's a ton of money. It's going to come in. So I think these buyers are very laser focused on rate and affordability. And right now they're out. But that rate goes from a 7.2 to an 6.5. You're going to get a lot of people sideline. Remember, if it goes like 7.5 to 6.5, it almost could be $1,000 on an entry level home here in San Diego a month in payment. That's getting people to move. Also, too, with supplies, with supply hurting and buyer demand pulling, builders are out there. Builders' margins are really good. There's only so much they're going to give you for credit and price reduction stuff, but builders are winning here still because they can do the 3-2-1 buy down. So if your rate's 7.5, they can start you at 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, give you enough runway to do that refi here in the coming, 12 months or whatever it is. But let's keep in mind that builders can also, even though there's land that's shovel ready and stuff, they're not going to just go out there and build wild and think it's all going to work. They'll slowly build, they'll slowly release, they'll make sure they're profitable and make sure there's nothing, there's no glaring end of the rope here or cliff on the other side where they're going to have some issues. So builders are cautiously building. They're not going to be able to bring the inventory to fix the problem. But if rates continue to remain this high, that will definitely discourage buyers. But if rates drop at all in the sixes, you get a lot more buyer demand for sure. Did you know that 58% of collections that are on the U.S. Americans credit report that have ruined their credit, 58% are from medical? And wait, I'm not done. And 80% of those 58% were basically, and 80% of the 58%, there were mistakes on the bills, on your credit. Maybe they shouldn't have been there. This is crazy. Yes, the government passed a law a few years back, I believe, where if it's $500 or less and you have a medical collection, they would have to remove it from your credit, would not affect your credit. Now they're trying to pass a law that would just eliminate all medical because tens of millions of people, 20 million plus people, they're saying, have medical collections on their credit. It's ruining their credit. It's enabling them from getting a good credit card rate, a good car rate. Maybe if they're applying for a student loan, maybe if they're trying to buy a house, right? Any debt, this is ruining their credit. They want to get it off there. So the average score that it ticks up is about 24 points, but I've seen people have multiple medical collections. They didn't even know they had them. And basically their scores went up 50, 60 points, some people 100 points. Just so quick for you guys, if you do have a medical collection and it's under $500, you should be calling that company. That should be removed off there. They need to give you a deletion letter. The second thing is, if you have a medical collection, let's say it's $2,500, this law has not come into effect, you want to go ahead, settle up and pay it, and they're willing to take your money, make sure you get a deletion letter, not a paid in full. A deletion letter deletes it off your credit like it was never on there, and that should help boost your score at least 25 points to hopefully higher. So jumping in here on the scoop, what is going on in the commercial market? I don't live and breathe it, but let me tell you, Krystle does. I own multifamily, obviously, if you guys know me, and also I read a lot of stuff and I pay attention to what's going on because I want to know. And obviously I have conversations with Krystle. So here's a recent article by Housing Wire. They said apartment boom is over. So 5+ starts, like housing starts, that means, if you don't know what a start is, that means somebody started to build a 5+ unit apartment building or started to build a house. 5+ unit starts are way down in recent data. Look, let's be honest, the rates are atrocious. Obviously, maybe even finding cheap labor is hard. And then just maybe the demand because of all the new construction and maybe the demand's not gonna meet it. A lot of apartment guys are just out, they're not building. But if you have to build because you have plans and permits, you're knee deep in, you want to get moving forward. If you're going to try to go down the traditional route, you're probably looking at somewhere around, I don't know, 50, 60% LTV loan to cost of your project. So if you need more, if you need to go to 75, 80, maybe up to 90, is it available? Absolutely, because Krystle is working on construction loans now. Those are available. The rates are going to be definitely 10 plus. There's going to be points. But remember, if it gets the deal done, it gets the deal done. And even those deals that are at 65, 60%, that's typically prime plus a couple points or maybe 1.5. So those rates are atrocious too. So your probably average traditional construction loan is probably somewhere 9, 10%. And your private money one is probably somewhere between 10 and 12%, depending on the strength of the client, the LTV, the project, and things like that. So is the apartment boom over? Who really knows? Look, we're just going through tough times with real estate. It's like, it's just getting choked. These high rates make deals basically just don't make sense. So what else is going on in the commercial space, if you guys read it all, is a lot of people that went out and, let's take markets like Arizona, Texas, Florida, Nevada. A lot of people was the value add. So let's say 5, 6 years ago, maybe longer, when people used to buy real estate, these big buildings, these syndicators, they were more doing, put 25 to 35% down, get the long 10-year IO, Fannie or Freddie, raise the money, do the rehab, and that's what they did. Then when you fast forward to the last 3 years and moving forward, that kind of turned more into a bridge debt. So the same person would go out, instead of raising that much money, they'd go out and maybe get 10 debt, have to put 10% down or 20% down and get the rehab finance, but then they're on a bridge loan for 1 or 2 years, and that was a floating rate, so it was 3.5 plus 30-day SOFR. When SOFR was at 50 basis points, you're like, cool, I'm chilling at 3.5, 4% rate, paying interest only, doing my thing, rents are raising, life is good. Well, what happened when SOFR went from 50 basis points to 500 basis points, whatever it's at, your rate went from 3.5 to 9%, and then all of a sudden you can't even afford the monthly payment, and this whole deal blows up. So if you go back to your investors, you ask for a capital call, a lot of them say, nah, I'm done, dude. Sorry, man, miss, I'm not giving you more money, figure it out. They might call you back and say, hey, we couldn't raise the money. Here's the keys, giving it back to the bank. Somebody's going to come in on the back end, investor, and buy that deal, probably 70 cents on the dollar of the debt. That is happening now. Syndicators that just bought wrong, got the wrong debt, they're just being punished. So they're not having fun. Being a syndicator, real estate investor, the money manager, you have a fund, all that stuff. There's not a lot of fun conversations. If you guys are listening to this and that's you know what it is. I talk to a lot of people. It's not fun. It's not fun having those conversations. It's not fun having to get more money. It's not fun when committee takes the rates down to 0 and then they jack them up, 525 basis points within a year. What do you think is going to happen? So as I mentioned before, when money's cheap, things seem easy. It's easy to move. It's easy to finance businesses and real estate and cars and everything. But when it's expensive, nobody wants to do deals. It doesn't make sense. That's why hence the Fed raised the rates to slow things down. So things aren't making sense on the commercial side. Commercial, in my opinion, is in a damn depression. I mean, you've got places that are down 50, 60, 70%, not values. I'm talking the deals that are getting done. Deals are 70% less deals down or funding. So read it. You can read all about it. So it's very interesting out there for commercial real estate. It's very tough. And so we're starting to see some of these other markets, not necessarily here in San Diego, where cap rates are starting to rise and maybe some deals people pay cash starting to make sense. But look, there's still not a lot of deal flow. A lot of deals are not making sense. So we're going to continue to watch that. But look, if you still need loans, they're doing them. There's banks doing loans. There's banks doing interest only. I still talked to Krystle this morning. There's still interest rates for apartments in the mid 6s. Remember, banks come in and out, might get competitive, might turn the switch on and off. So it's always there. A lot of people are trying to do loans with a minimal prepay or no prepay because they want to have the option to refinance in a few years. The only thing I would say about commercial real estate for anybody that's doing it is you got to think out. If you're getting locked in with a lender and the rate's 7% and you have a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 prepay and you're not going to be able to refi in a year, or you're going to have to go back to them, maybe they'll let you break the prepay or do something. That's a terrible position. I'd rather take a higher rate or maybe the same kind of rate if you go with a broker and says, I don't want to prepay, or hey, I'll do a 1-0 prepay, or maybe a 2-1 where you're paying a 1% prepay. You're willing to live with that, to have that option to refinance, because that is going to be a huge difference in the future. But anyways, guys, I told you I'd leave you with a couple nuggets here. What I think we're going to see over the next, I don't even think this whole thing going on with, the politics is all involved in everything these days, which is very frustrating for everybody in this country. But if the government shuts down, I don't really think it's going to do much to rates. I think we're just going to live through it. They'll probably figure something out. But in the long run, rates for higher is not a joke. It's here. The consumer is still spending. They have access to still a lot of equity in their credit cards, even though it's $1.2 trillion of credit card debt. Those credit card, I think the limit on those is $4 trillion. The other thing is the average person got to maybe cash out refinance, or they got a HELOC in their house. That's more equity they can tap into. So how long does the spending go before people slow down? How long is the job market until it starts softening? We don't know, but those two things are probably really what's going to make something change with the Fed or rates to come down. So longer, higher for longer is true. And obviously with real estate, high rates doing a chokehold on the industry, we'll continue to see buyer demand slow down because it doesn't make sense, and sellers maybe just start taking their house off the market or less and less listings. So over the next fall into winter, it's going to be very interesting. So if rates remain high, I think the business is really going to see a tremendous slowdown, and the reality is going to be, if you're in the business, it's going to be like crickets out there, probably getting just no deals, and people, it doesn't make sense. So yes, there's still people refinancing and having to pull money out and things like that on the residential side. So there's always deals closing. Some people think this is an opportunity to buy right now and take advantage and then refi when it's slower. So we will see. There's over 300 million people in this country, so there's always deals transacting. It's just a matter of if they're transacting with you or not. So anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much. Krystle will be back to you next week with the scoop. Until then, have a great week. See you guys soon.